Welcome, everyone. My name is Camilla Hewitson, and I work with C-Focus, which is delighted to be bringing you this gallery webinar series as part of our VIP program. Thank you very, very much for joining us today. As you know, C-Focus is the anchor event of Singapore Art Week, and we have opened our doors for its 4th edition last night. We are delighted to be showcasing over 170 artworks from 50 artists and 24 galleries. As well as our talks and tours, this year, I just wanted to highlight, we have a specially curated fringe program, a Projector X at Riverside Point, screening over 20 compelling artist-made films from the 19th to 21st of January. But all our information on these fantastic events can be found at our website, which is cfocus.sg, and we do hope you can join us online or in person at many of these events. But back to today, we are delighted to have your workshop with us, talking about marginalised women artists in a masculinised contemporary art world with Balinese artist Citra Sasmita. I will now hand over to Krystina, Citra and Kasi to lead this conversation forward. Many thanks.
Thank you. So hello everyone. Welcome to our gallery webinar series. My name is Kasi Sim from Your Workshop, and I'll just extend a welcome to the webinar, Marginalized Women Artists in the Masculinized Contemporary Art World with Balinese artist Citra Sasmita and researcher Krystina Lyon, which aims to shed light on the neglected and rarely acknowledged issue in the art environment of Southeast Asia. The two will identify and discuss different strategies used by gendered art collectives in Bali to develop by contemporary women artists, past and present, to nurture female empowerment and to gain an audience for feminist art practices in Southeast Asia where there had been none. So before we begin, just to let you know how this will go, I will introduce the speakers and then share an overview of Citra's works currently on view at C-Focus. This will be followed by the dialogue. And if you have any questions for us, please type them in the Q&A chat box, and we will try to get to them if we can in the end during the Q&A session. So about the speakers, Citra Sasmita is a Balinese artist who reads the historical canon on how women are positioned within a certain socio-political context, but also indirectly explores the path of art history within the Kitab Kakawin in Javanese Hinduism, which is based on patriarchy. So notable projects by this artist in 2021 include a mural, A Place Further Than the Universe, commissioned by IKEA. That's what you see here on a screen right now. And exhibitions at the Makan Museum, Jakarta, and Parasite, Hong Kong. Her works will also be presented at the Kathmandu Triennial later this year. She was also the gold winner UOB Painting of the Year in 2017. And researcher Krystina Lyon has lived and worked in Asia for over 30 years, growing up in the Philippines and living in Singapore for the past 20 years. She completed her master's thesis with distinction in 2020 for the Goldsmiths Master's Program in Asian Art Histories, LaSalle, in partnership with LaSalle, and she's a specialist in Southeast Asian contemporary art. She's always looking for ways to increase the visibility of women artists in Southeast Asia through dialogue, discourse, and research. Her thesis topic was the role of women's art collectives in mediating the gender nature of contemporary art in Southeast Asia. So now here is an overview of Citra's latest work from 2021. As you can see, she continues to draw on elements of traditional Balinese culture and literature to reimagine female narratives in society. Her new body of work deliberately casts women as pioneers through various symbolic representations where their energy forms the foundation of the universe. So women are depicted to control fire, which signifies agricultural advancements, power, and reproduction. And whilst the snakes are a reference to knowledge and patriarchy, where knowledge is handed down to their daughters and sisters between women. So the works are done in traditional Kamasan style, featuring a traditional border used in Hindu scriptures, which has been passed down for over 5 generations. So these elaborate scenes of Genesis that exemplify teamwork and solidarity in sisterhood. So Sasmita subverts the typical subordinate position women are designated in history. So we highly encourage you to come down to see Focus at Tanjung Pagar District Park to check out these works if you have not already. So thank you very much for listening to this introduction. Now over to you, Krystina and Titra.
Thank you so much. There we go. Wonderful. Thank you so much, Cassie, for that introduction, and a very warm welcome to our VIP guests for whom this presentation has been specially prepared. We are joined today by a very illustrious group of artists and academics from Australia, India, Philippines, Singapore, Thailand, and the US, who have all been part of my journey on this topic since 2020. My name is Krystina. I just wanted to make sure, is everything working? Everybody can see, hear? Everybody happy with things? I'll assume that's okay. Citra, a very warm welcome to you from Singapore, even though it's only virtually for the moment. I hope that we will get to meet in person one of these days soon. I so look forward to that. 2021 was an extremely busy year for you, ending with that very prestigious mural for IKEA's first store in Bali. And 2022 seems like it's going to be an even busier year with the works that you have here for the Southeast Asia Focus exhibition, the work for the Kathmandu Triannual, and the month residency in Belgium, already in the diary. And I should say, your works are flying off the walls at this exhibition, and I'm very pleased to see that. Let me begin by saying that this talk aims to shed light on the neglected and rarely acknowledged issue of marginalized women's art practice in a largely male-dominated contemporary art environment in Southeast Asia. It may seem like splitting hairs, but it is important to point out that I do not use the word marginalized in any Western-centric way that ignores the plurality of these issues in Southeast Asia with all its rich diversity. The need by marginalized women artists to negotiate this masculinized contemporary art world has been much debated, as many of you know, in the art historical field. Scholars such as the American Linda Nochlin and British-Canadian Griselda Pollock argued in the 70s and the 80s that women were historically prevented from gaining art skills, and that a systemic sexism within institutions continued to prevent women artists from being recognized and including in written art histories. Southeast Asian academics, Claudette de May Datuin and Eileen Legaspi Ramirez, both from the University of the Philippines and who are joining us today online from Manila, also argued that this was the case for women artists in Southeast Asia, specifically during the years following the political and social upheavals in both the Philippines and Thailand during the years from the 70s to the 90s. In recent research for my MA thesis, I argued that the format of a single gender collective contributed to the agency women artists needed in patriarchal societies such as Thailand and the Philippines to provide both a physical and a metaphorical space for women to continue their art practice. In the Philippines, for example, artists Imelda Cahipe Endaya, who's with us from Los Angeles, Julie Luch, Brenda Fajardo, Anna Fair, and Ida Bugayong founded the formally structured collective Kasibulan in 1987 to create opportunities for themselves. The male-dominated art scene in Manila at the time excluded women artists. How? Through lack of economic support, places to exhibit, and diversity in the valued styles of art production. Women artists who wanted to work on topics of women's issues with more female media, like craft and traditional fabrics, were left unsupported and unrecognized, in part by this patriarchal environment. Their formal organizational structure with membership fees enabled them to be proactive in applying for funding, to fundraise themselves, and to be invited to exhibit at established institutions like the Cultural Center of the Philippines. and by the way, members of the CCP are also with us here today. With this very brief background, the two collectives in the region, I'd like to start the conversation with Citra. Citra, could I ask you, please, could you give us some background, historical background to the current Balinese situation vis-a-vis women's art practice today? And would you say that there is a lingering patriarchy in the Balinese contemporary art world? And if so, what strategies have you used in your art practice to negotiate and navigate your way through?
Okay, thank you, Krystina. Before that, I would like to say thank you to C-Focus and your workshop to give this great opportunity to me to present my experience in art scenes in Bali. And then, Krystina, it's really interesting to hear the background and then how your research also link with current situation about the lack of appreciation and then the lack of existence of women artists in Indonesia and special in Bali. And it still become a global phenomena in my opinion. And then to answer your first question, I would like to ask you to look more complex into this problem, such as until now there is still lack and there is no progressive writing and progressive archiving or video documenting about women artists and their biography, and then and as a result we cannot access it easily about their process and their artistic career, and then how they survive become senior woman artists, such as some of traditional artists in Bali. And these things I would like to more to investigate what is the reason, what is causing it from Balinese art history. And this presentation, it is like a simple map of Balinese art dynamic and movement that ever happened in Bali, from traditional art movement before 1930. There is some traditional art style like Kamasan style, Batuan style, and Ubud style, and the function for this traditional art is still for ritual, and then the decoration for the royal palace, and then temple. And then after that, when the Bali sharing, or this called politic ethic of colonial, to develop art and culture in Bali by sending the agent of colonial, such as the artist and then the art historian, anthropologist, or filmmaker, to do their, to bring their Western perspective for Balinese artists. So from this year, like 1930, there are progressive movement of modern art, and the pioneer of modern art in Bali, such as Walter Spice and Rudolf Bonnet, they initiate the Pitamaha group, and then young artists led by Iris Smith. And after that, there is Sanggar Dewata Indonesia in 1970. It is his first Balinese artist generation that going to art academy in Yogyakarta. They also make a big abstract movement in Bali, but from this all of movement seem is not significant support the existence of women artists, and it is hard to find any writing about women artists or seeing the collection of them in the local museum in Bali, such as Arma Museum, Puri Lukisan, and then Neka. By this timeline, it's really hard to to find it. And then where is woman artist? Next slide, please. Seems from this timeline, there is only 2 women artists that we can found although there's still very little reading about them. They are Nimade Suciarmi, born in 1932 and passed away in 2020. She is the first recognizable Kamasan woman painter, and Kamasan painting tradition is like the oldest painting technique that developed in Bali. It is from 15th century, and then the second one is Desa Putu Lambon from Batuan traditional painting. I consider their artwork is very important for us to read the situation that time, and in my point of view, they are both of them are very lucky to have this existence or being recognizable as a woman artist, because they are growing in an exceptional situation, such as they can learn the technique and then learn the narration, and then they can live the way as an artist from family or father that that they inherit their knowledge, and the family or the society around these artists are supporting them as a woman artist. Meanwhile, in this era, a lot of Balinese women generally encouraged only to do like domestic job and then the household and the cultural duty, and making art is considered counterproductive for women. And then next slide. And yeah, seems we should wait around 60 years to see this lack of appreciation and lack of existence of a woman artist in Bali is like a real problem. So Mary Notmore, a gallerist that live in Bali, initiate to build Seniwati Gallery at Ubud, and then what they're doing is like talent hunting. So Mary Notmore manage their time to find all woman artists in Bali, although it's not all she can put together in this space. And then they are doing a regular exhibition and selling their artwork and then manage the artists to have program, and then such as residencies and workshop to connecting the senior one and the junior one that time. And note in the Seniwati Gallery, there are like 80 women artists become member, and these communities or Seniwati group is their movement is successful enough to emerge some of female artists such as Murni, and then Ninyo Mansani, and then Gusti Agung Galuh. That's the sum of successful artists on this Seniwati Gallery. And then after they are doing this program, seems they should be closed in 2011 because they cannot continue the rent fee in the gallery, so they decided to close the gallery. And then next, seems also after Seniwati Gallery, please next presentation. There's like empty face of the woman doing exhibition in Bali is like around 8 years, and we still seeing this unequal situation in art exhibition, like almost no woman artists that participating in exhibition in Indonesia, especially in Bali, and this unequal percentage of women artists still not become awareness in art institution or gallery until there is a huge movement from Asia Archive. They're called name 5 women artists and write the entry or write the biography of woman artists in Wikipedia page. And I'm participating in this movement in the Indonesian visual art Yogyakarta by following the workshop. And in that workshop, I found the fact that even the pioneer of Indonesian woman artists like Imeria Sunasa, she is the first female artist in Indonesia, and then Hildawati Sumantri, she is also the pioneer in the ceramic artist. They are not written well in any biography, in any online archiving. And in Bali, only 2 women artists that included on the database on the workshop, they are Murni and Mary Notmore. And I find it very motivating us to we know the more than like 80 artists be part of Seniwati. Why only 2 are recognizable in Indonesian art scene? That's why we are very motivated to initiate the Futuwonder. Futuwonder is like a collective and a platform that facilitate art and then biography writing of senior artists, and then we making a video documentation, and we are realize this is very important to search and rewriting their history, because when we looking back our Balinese art history, there's so many missing link from this. And then after that, we are do exhibition making, and the exhibition making is not only to a space of appreciation, but it is a momentum for the senior artists, female senior artists in Bali, and then the junior one, to meet and discuss and to learn directly what is their ideology and then their spirit that make them survive in this uncertain situation of art scene. And then this year, last year, we have opportunity. Next year, please. Our collective have opportunity to be part of Jakarta Biennale, and we are doing collaboration with 3 senior artists that born in 60. They are Mangku Muriati, she is priest in Kamasan traditional painter, and then Nati Harimini from Batuan style, and then Agung Galuh. And we are not only do artistic collaboration with the senior artists, we are also do collaboration with the art writers to make art writing and then their analysis of their artworks. So the audience in Jakarta or Indonesian generally can see this complex problem of Balinese art. I think that's all for now. For the background, I can explain to you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Citra. That was so interesting. And of course, I'm struck by the fact that you've achieved so much in the time since you founded Futuwonder since 2018. And it's really wonderful to see all the activities that you've done. I would like to speak later about, because you've talked about a little bit about the history and the background and your activities that you're doing to overcome the situation in Bali. But what I'd really like to ask you about, maybe in a little while, is about the difficulties that you face both personally and professionally in your attempts to do this. But I'll ask you that in a second. At the moment, I want to introduce another collective that I was researching, and they're also members with us in the audience today. And hopefully at the end, we can have time to share a little bit about their difficulties that they overcame at the time. So Womanifesto out of Thailand is the other collective I wanted to talk about. It was founded 10 years after Kasibulan in 1997, and they had an informal structure. They were more outward looking in terms of an international network of connections. And their three founders, all of whom are with us today, the artists Nitaya Uriworaku, Paptuan Suwanakut, and Varshaner from India, were also frustrated by the lack of support for women artists in Thailand, as Kasibulan, as yourself. As a group, Womanifesto were invested in not so much in the end product of artwork and exhibitions, but in the processes, in the exchanges, in the interactions and collaborations that interested them and their participants. They described it, Citra, as an art exchange. And they planned their projects, which happened biannually. They changed locations. They would move, well, actually, they moved from Bangkok, the capital, to the countryside. And on one occasion, at least from memory, they were also exhibiting on had their project in the cybersphere. So they really managed to adapt to suit their lifestyles of their members and their family situations, and what Varsha called, and I quote her, the rhythm of the lives as women, which allowed room for childbirth, for growing children, and for caring for aging parents, because of course, all of that doesn't go away and forms the rich tapestry of all of our lives. Theirs was a flexible format that included some men at times, and was determined to be as independent as possible. They also applied for funding, but more from international organizations, foundations, who were clear that there were no expectations of an end product like an artwork or an exhibition. Their focus was not so much on women's issues per se, but on all issues, human issues, global issues, and the space to have time to gather and to think through these issues that interested them. Where the two collectives are similar is in the very, very careful compilation of written material and in their determination to hand down skills, knowledge, education to women in the rural situations. This mode of self-historizing was an effective way for the members of Kasibulan and Womanifesto to insert themselves not just into Southeast Asian art history, but into global history, whilst also doing good in their communities. For Kasibulan, it included a conscious decision to archive their written material, their memorabilia, their meeting notes, exhibition proposals, and they donated, they also donated birthday cards that they would send to each other to keep their spirits up. It was a very joyful kind of written material, and they donated them to the Ateneo Library of Women's Writing, where I did some of the research, and where I was able to actually look and touch and feel these items and get a sense for the flavor of the time. In Womanifesto's case, their archive of material and beautifully crafted photo albums and scrapbooks of their biannual projects were donated to Asia Art Archive in Hong Kong, but to be digitized. And then they will, once that's done, they'll be returned to a permanent location. And the last I heard, and maybe we can get an update today, was it was going to be based on Nitaya's farm in the countryside. This attests to both the collective's awareness, and I quote Filipino academic May Datwin, who's with us, to represent themselves in their own eyes and through their own voices, which was very important. Citra, is this something that you're trying to do by founding Futuwonder? And please do tell us a little bit about the difficulties that you faced on your journey to establishing yourself with the collective nowadays.
Yeah, thank you. yeah, I don't know from where to start, because Futuwonder is like still baby collective. I think the most challenge we are facing uh, from the beginning we start this collective is sustainability, and then the support of our ideology and our vision to bring women artists in Balinese to more wider area and wider art scene, not only in Bali but in Indonesia. And we started with traditional artists because Balinese art scene itself is very diverse, and then there's a lot iconography that we should learn carefully, and then even each artist from each generation, they have different spirit and ideology. So to bring all of them unity, or make a union from all of these women artists is also part of our challenge. So beside we do a archiving activity, and then the writing about their biography, we are doing like curatorial project. We call it PKK, program kurasi kolektif. Like it's a collective curation program, and try to read and analyze what ideology or what issue can make this iconography or their artwork can be together, even though we are from different generation, and then we are have different mission with with our artwork as a medium, and then our collective is not have very structural like funding, and then the membership fee. We are built still as a platform, and then our member is three. There Ruth, she more experience in manage the artist, and then Putu Sri Diniari, she is more in art writing and art research. So our background in the collective also very diverse, and yes, we still need a long way to to run, and then still try to hack what happened in Bali and what happened in Indonesia. And we need Bali is not a specific Bali issue. It's also the problem of the wider area, or wider. It is a global problem that we're facing. That's what we're trying to do, and yeah, support that we are very need at the moment is ideological support of our idea. I think that's all. Krystina.
Citra, may I ask you, because I think I'm being told that we're running out of time already, and I just feel like we got started. But
Yeah.
if I could encourage anybody who wants to ask Citra or myself some questions, please write it in the chat box. But I do want to, I'm sorry, Citra, I want to ask you some more personal questions, because I know that in our conversations together, preparing for this talk, you shared some very difficult times for yourself to reach this point, and what really motivated you to choose this path. And I know that you have had a lot of personal sacrifice. You've changed you've really sort of extracted yourself from the Balinese hierarchy and way of life in order to do this work. So it's not that you're choosing this casually, it's a life decision, and you will forevermore be ostracized, I suppose, from your community. Could you share a little bit about this, about your journey, please, Citra?
Yeah, being a woman artist in like patriarchy culture is quite challenging, and I'm also not from academic background. I'm not graduated in art, and mostly in my artwork I do not bring like visual or technique or how it become a good market is not my vision, but I am more into idea, and then what is ideology for me as a woman artist, and what make me survive is I'm lucky enough to meet the right person in my life, like I meeting woman activists and then woman academic that supporting my idea, bring me a constructive critique about my art process, and then it makes me more believe in what the path I'm choosing as a woman artist, that there's a hidden truth that I should speak, not although not directly, but from my artwork. But yeah, I think my journey is quite, like surprisingly, like it empower me to, even though I can speak to you like this moment and share my idea, my reality that I face is also, yeah, I'm very grateful. It be also because of my luckiness to meet people around that support me, something like that.
Mhm. Well, Chitra, I'm so sorry. I think that we're being pushed out. I can't believe the time has gone so quickly. So let me just thank you, of course, and to the members of the senior members of Kasibulan and Womanifesto. Thanks to all of you, we have an enriched understanding of the legacy and, importantly, the potential of women's art collectives and their ability to subvert existing long-established power relations.
Thank you so much to our speakers and moderator. Krystina, Citra and Cassie, you've led us through a fascinating discussion on Citra's work. We really are very grateful to you and Yo Workshop for arranging today's talk. Thank you to all of you for joining us, and we look forward to welcoming those of you in Singapore at Sea Focus at Tanjong Distripark. But we're very grateful for your time this afternoon.